So first, Gary,
Yes, sir.
we're honored to be here. Thank you for having us. We know you're super busy. Board meeting was great. But now we have you alone. So this is a rare opportunity. And we have a ton of folks in our audience who are in the operating positions of companies, both as practitioners and as leadership, who are very interested in what you have to say, given your background. So let's dig in.
Okay.
Very first thing, we want to know about Gary. Let's talk
Yes.
about you.
Okay.
So don't be embarrassed.
I'm a little embarrassed.
Background.
I don't like talking about myself.
Where you're from.
Okay.
Where'd you go to school? I want to hear about, the formative days of Gary Reiner.
Okay, so I grew up in Long Island, New York.
Yeah.
I grew up in a town called New Hyde Park.
Mm-hmm.
I went to Herrick's High School. And actually my last year in high school, I actually did not go to high school. I actually tried to wanted to see what it was going to be like. I grew up a tennis player. I wanted to see what it would be like to play tournaments all the time. And it was easily the least enjoyable year of my life. It was incredibly boring and lonely, and I decided to go to college. I went to Harvard College. I studied economics and math, and then I went to Harvard Business School, and I joined Boston Consulting Group. And it was a funny interview to get into BCG.
This is first
out of business school.
Right out of your MBA. Yeah,
exactly. And I had tried to grow a beard in business school. And I don't know whether you've ever tried to grow a beard or not, but my beard was horrible.
Can't.
Horrible.
It comes in patches.
Yes, it always looked like I hadn't shaved for 3 days. And so the day before the interview, I shaved. And I go to the interview, and I was obviously very nervous. And the guy had the worst beard I've ever seen in my life who interviewed me. And we spent 15 minutes with me telling him how I just shaved, I had the worst beard, and we got along so well that I got the job. That's how I got the job at BCG.
There are no accidents. Yeah.
Anyway, I loved it. I loved BCG to death. I mean, I was there for 10 years. Maybe the hardest thing professionally for me was leaving BCG. Headhunter had called and had asked whether I wanted to head up strategy at GE. And I said, thanks, but no thanks. I'm quite happy with BCG. And he said, well, do you want to sit down with Jack Welch and talk about it? I said, sure, I'll sit down with Jack Welch and talk about it. So
this is interesting. Yeah.
Okay. So
you have to take that meeting.
You have to take the meeting.
Of course.
Yeah. And I was deadly scared in the meeting. We were interviewing, and he was interviewing me and asking me a bunch of questions. And at some point, and it's really kind of telling as to how he thought about his job and his need for picking a successor. This was 10 years before he was going to retire.
Interesting.
And halfway through, he said, do you want my job? I said, what? And he said, do you want my job? And I said, Jack, I'm just trying to get through this interview.
That's incredible.
And he actually laughed. And anyway, we hit it off, and I left BCG, as I said, and headed up strategy and M&A. And in the course of that,
This is a direct report to Jack.
Yeah. And about 2 years into it, I showed him. Went into his office very proudly with a graph that showed that our prices had been going down about 0.5% a year across all our businesses. But our costs were going up about 3% a year. And I drew the graph out. I extended it out a few more years and said, we're going to disappear as a company if we keep doing this, and we got to get our selling prices up. He said, no, we got to get our costs down. And so we need a big sourcing initiative to get all of our costs down, and you're going to lead it. So in addition to strategy and M&A, I headed up sourcing. Then 2 years later, I said, Jack, our IT's pretty bad around here. No one's really paying attention, and it's really going to become an important thing. He said, fine, you're CIO now. So
that was the transition.
That was the transition. I mean, I kept the other stuff, but that's how I became CIO.
That's interesting.
And then in 96, so 2 years later after that, I told them that there was a lot of feeling around the company that we cared more about product than more about earnings than we did about the quality of our products and the quality of our processes. And we discussed something called Six Sigma. Long story short, he said, "You're going to head up Six Sigma." So that's how and there's actually a lot of synergy between leading information technology and leading the quality initiative. There's a lot of good stuff that link between those two.
I can imagine, looking, and I lived that period. It was my entry into the workforce in 1993, and even that time, it was very hard to get a job. We were in sort of an economic drought. And I can imagine what GE would have been going through. Was the pricing suppression because of pressure external to you?
Yes.
So you were being
competition.
Correct.
Yeah.
So
okay.
the race to the bottom, so to speak.
Yeah, but it was not. It was 0.5% a year. I mean, it was not. It was not plunging. It was 0.5% a year, and that's just the world is globalizing, more competition. Still, very profitable company. So 96, we launched Quality, and then e-commerce started, and he said you should run that. So more and more, but it was more. There was nothing ever planned. It was more about I'd go to him and I'd say, someone needs to do this, and he said, you do it.
You got it.
That's so it was always risky to tell him that.
Sounds good. Now go.
Right, exactly. Right. Make something happen. So that was it, and I was there for 20 years, 11 with Jack and 9 with Jeff Himbo. Left in 2010 and joined General Electric.